Good morning, students. In this video, we'll discuss the question answer. The topic is nutrition in plants and animals. So, whatever question is given in NCERT book, so we will try to answer those question. So, first question is, why is diffusion insufficient to meet the oxygen requirements of multicellular organisms like human? So, question is about why diffusion is insufficient to meet the oxygen requirements of multicellular organisms. So by the process of diffusion, oxygen requirement can be easily fulfilled, but in case of multicellular organisms whose body is made up of many cells, so diffusion is not sufficient to provide oxygen to each and every cell, and the process of diffusion is also very slow. So that's why the for supplying oxygen to each and every cell, it will take very more time. So the answer is, in multicellular organisms like human, all the body cells are not in direct touch or direct contact with the surrounding environment. Therefore, every cell of the body will not get oxygen as per need by the process of diffusion from the environment. Therefore, diffusion is insufficient to meet the oxygen requirements of multicellular organisms. Next question is, what criteria do we use to decide whether something is alive? So how we can identify that something is alive or dead? So the main criteria used to decide whether something is alive are breathing and respiration. So if any organism will show breathing and respiration, then we can say that they are living. And living beings also show growth and movement. So growth and movement will be also seen in the living organism. Next question is, what are outside raw materials used for by an organism? So for the survival, what are the outside raw materials which is necessary for any organism? So the answer is, any organism uses organic molecules as raw material. Heterotrophs use food and autotrophs use carbon dioxide, minerals, waters, and all organisms use oxygen as a raw materials which is necessary for the process of respiration. Next question is, what processes would you consider essential for maintaining life? So for maintaining life, what are the life processes which are necessary? So the processes essential for maintaining life are nutrition, second one is respiration, third is transportation, and fourth one is excretion. So these four life processes are necessary for maintaining life. Next question is, what are the differences between autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition? So the basic difference between autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition is, in autotrophic nutrition, so in this mode of nutrition, an organism makes or synthesize its own food, but in heterotrophic nutrition, organisms cannot make or synthesize its own food. In autotrophic nutrition, organisms use simple inorganic materials like carbon dioxide and water to synthesize their food, but on the other hand, heterotrophic nutrition, organisms cannot make their own food from simple inorganic matter and depends on other organisms for their food. Next question is, where do plants get each of the raw materials required for the photosynthesis? So we all know that for photosynthesis, carbon dioxide, water, sunlight, chlorophyll, pigment is necessary. So carbon dioxide, plants get carbon dioxide from the environment or atmosphere through stomata. Water, plants absorb water from the soil through roots and transport to leaves. Sunlight, plants get sunlight from directly from the sun. And chlorophyll pigment, it is present in chloroplast and it is already found in green leaves and green parts of plants. What is the role of the acid in our stomach? So we all know that our stomach, it secretes gastric juice, and this gastric juice con- contains hydrochloric acid, and this hydrochloric acid provides acidic medium which is necessary for the digestion of protein. and this acid also kills all the bacteria which enters into our stomach along with the food. So the answer is the role of acid in our stomach is to make acidic medium which is necessary for the activation of the enzyme pepsin, and second is to kill bacteria which the food may contain. Next question is what is the function of digestive enzymes? So the food we eat is complex in nature, that is, it contains complex molecules, and digestive enzymes break down these complex molecules into a smaller, simpler form so that they can be absorbed by the wall of intestine. So this is the use of the digestive enzymes which are present in the human body. Next question is how is the small intestine designed to absorb digested food? So small intestine they possess finger like structure called villi which will help in the absorption of digested food. So the answer is the small intestine is designed to provide maximum area for absorption of digested food and its transfer into the blood for its circulation into the body. For this, the inner lining of the small intestine has numerous finger-like projection called villi. So the villi are richly supplied with blood vessels which take the absorbed food to each and every cell of the body. And we have to also note that the small intestine of the herbivorous animal is very long as compared to the carnivorous animal. So the plant's product need more time to get digest. So that's why the small intestine of the herbivorous animal is quite large as compared to the carnivorous animal, the flesh eating animals like lion and tiger. So before ending this video, I want to tell you that what are the different components of food and what will be the end product of their digestion. So mainly food, whatever food we eat, it consists of carbohydrate, protein, fats, vitamins and minerals. So carbohydrate is energy giving food. And what is the source of carbohydrate? So if any person will eat rice chapati, then very easily they can get carbohydrate. Protein is known as bodybuilding food. And what is the source of protein? So pulses, meat, chicken, eggs, so they are the source of protein. And protein is necessary for the proper growth and development of our body. And third is the fat. So is fat is also energy giving food. And if any person will consume oils, ghee, butter, so very easily they can fulfill the requirement of fat in our body. Minerals and vitamins, they are known as protective food, and there will be no digestion of minerals and vitamins takes place in our body. So why is the digestion of vitamins and minerals will not take place in our body? Because they are already present in their simpler forms. Our body directly absorb vitamins and minerals. So what is the end product of digestion of carbohydrate, proteins and fats? So if the digestion of carbohydrate will take place, then finally it will be broken down into glucose. If the digestion of protein will take place, then finally it will be broken down into amino acid. And if the digestion of fat takes place, then finally it will be broken down into fatty acid and glycerol. And small intestine is the site of complete digestion of food. So all the component of food, it will be digested in the small intestine. The end of the digestion, it will take place in small intestine. It may differ that the starting point of the digestion, it may vary for the carbohydrate, proteins and fats. For example, the digestion of carbohydrate will start from mouth by the help of the salivary amylase which is secreted by the salivary gland. There will be no digestion in esophagus. There will be no digestion in of carbohydrate in stomach. Then finally the digestion will complete in small intestine. If we will discuss the digestion of protein, then there will be no digestion of protein in mouth, esophagus. It will start from stomach and it will ends in the small intestine. And it is very important or interesting to note that the digestion of fat, so there will be no digestion of fat in stomach, esophagus, mouth. So digestion of fat, it will start from the small intestine and it will ends in the small intestine. So this much only in this video. Next video we will discuss a new topic. Thank you.